Alright guys, welcome back to Frugal Homestead. So today I have some sweet potatoes I need to get in the ground. I know it's really late, but they need to get in the ground. Now, for those of you who don't know, bringing up sweet potatoes is pretty easy. You just buy a potato, cut it in half, stick it in water, and let the slips grow out. Now, this was not a plan. We didn't plan to do sweet potatoes. I just kind of wanted to see if I could really get the Walmart ones, the non-organics, to grow. And as you can see, I can. It's hard to do, but you can get them to do it. I added a little bit of honey to the water, which kind of made them not rot, and they took off. Now, once they sprout off, you just pluck them off and stick them in water and they'll root. And then obviously you take that and put it into a cup with some dirt and it'll grow. But we're gonna skip that step because we're already late in the season. We're already at the beginning of June. We need to get these in the ground. Now, we don't grow ours in ground. We had too many problems with ants. So I got a half a barrel here and I got a bunch of big pots scattered throughout the farm. I never grow them all in the same spot because deer tend to eat them. They'll eat the vinage all the way down and then the plant won't grow. So my mix is pretty simple. I'm gonna go over it with you. We're gonna get these in the ground. I don't have a lot of them, and I'm gonna show you both ways to plant them. One is directly planting the potato you sprouted, and the other is planting the slip. Pretty much the same process, just which step you like to do it in. Alright guys, as you can see, there's a bunch of holes drilled all in it. This actually used to be a rolling composter that I cut in half. These half barrels are really nice. They don't look real great, but they're nice to grow in. So the first thing we're going to do is add some chips to the bottom to kind of make a barrier for water to sit, but the potatoes won't grow down in there. That way the potatoes don't go to the bottom and rot. So now that's our base layer. Now next, I like to usually use a 50-50 blend of compost or potting mix. Not potting soil, potting mix. Because both of those will wick and pull moisture. In a pinch, you can use some peat moss. Alright, so one more of the compost here. I break it all, loosen it up. Alright, so every variety is different, but I've come to find out that when you plant these, leave room to hill them up, to put more into the pot, because sometimes along here it'll start to develop runners, and if you bury those, it'll produce more smaller potatoes on the next layer up. Doesn't always happen, but sometimes. So if we're doing the style that's the whole potato, you're going to pull out your toothpicks that you use to suspend it. And we're going to go back here. We're going to dig a hole, bury it in. I'm going to train it to come back here and get up on this trellis fence here with the peas, and then it'll just take off up that. Now, for this style, They've been down in water. And like I said, I let these go because I hadn't really intended on putting these out, honestly. But as you can see, we just broke these off that main potato, stuck them in some water, and they rooted up beautifully. So I'm gonna go ahead and put one over here. I don't know how well you guys are gonna be able to see that. And then I'm gonna take another and plant it right here. Now they're all tidied in. I've got one more to put in another pot. Now next step is going to be to water them in. I'm just going to take some water, because this stuff's already pretty damp, and pour it towards the middle, not directly on the plant. And then I'm going to go get me some more wood chips, and I'm going to mulch the top of this. Alright, so we're just going to put a thin covering of our wood chip mulch over it, and that's more to hold in moisture than anything. Doesn't take much, just need the ground level covered. And now I'll add stakes as these get longer to train them to go up, and we'll hope that the deer don't eat them off flush this year. And then at the end of season, we'll lay out a tarp, flip this over, pull our potatoes out, put everything back in this, and let it winter and be ready for next year. Now let's go take a look at one that is already ready to be planted in, that we used last year, that's up by the front porch. Alright, so as you can see, this pot's pretty banged up. It's had a rough life, but still serves a purpose. So let's get started here. We're gonna plant 3 in this one. Generally I'd say 2 is about as many as you should, but we got some we gotta get in the ground, period. Okay, so that one's been in dirt for a while. So we're gonna loosen it up. It's a little root bound. Cover it up. There's the other one that we had in that jar. We'll put him out here on the front. And we got this guy, once again in a cup, kind of root bound. As you can see, break him up a little bit. I'll end up training him to go up the deck here and put stakes in for these other guys. Now we need to water it in. Let that all soak in for a second, and then we're going to mulch the top with our chips. What that's going to do is make it so it doesn't dry out as much. And now we are all set, and they will take off over the next couple days and just start to grow like crazy. So as you can see, it doesn't take much to grow sweet potatoes. It really doesn't. The reality is, you buy a sweet potato from the store, you cut it in half, and you put it in some water, and you either plant the whole potato or peel the slips off of it, drop them in water, let them root, and then put them over into dirt and then transplant outside. There's various methods. Depends on what kind of yield. A good half a sweet potato can usually yield anywhere from 4 to 12 slips. Good strong slips. So 1 potato, 2 potatoes is usually a good indication. If you go to some place like Kroger's and get the organic ones, they're gonna grow and bloom real fast. If you buy the regular ones at like Walmart, you can get results, but it takes double the time and it's a lot harder to do it. I'm not going to try and explain it because I don't really know all the science behind why. Maybe it's their pesticides, maybe they purposely grow their potatoes over generations so you can't do that. I don't really know what the answer is. I mean, if you have more information, please comment it down below. I'd love to hear your ideas on it. But the reality is that a sweet potato is a very healthy vegetable, and for us, you're not gonna work, you know what I mean? I come out here and I do this, they get water off the roof so I don't have to mess with it, and we just knock it over at the end of the season, and whatever we get, we get. Now, I will say that the vinage that comes up, leaves come up, are kind of pretty. I kind of like how they look, and we're gonna be working on something later to where we can pull slips off this every year in a bigger system. But you have to stay tuned for that, so make sure you hit that subscribe button and make sure you hit that notification bell so you can see all of our upcoming videos, and we'll see you in the next one.